My name is Bill Brownell. I've been at Microsoft, I'm going in and out here, I'll come over here, about 13 years. I started with Microsoft to bring Xbox alive. So I started about a year and a half before we launched that product. And that's going to be relevant in a minute when I'll tell you some of the stories connects to where our current products are. And part of what I was brought on to is change retail and our experiences. Over my tenure at Microsoft, I've changed now from just doing Xbox to all lines of business at retail and how do we do a better job bringing our products to life. What you're going to find is that we have a lot of great products coming out. What we haven't done is a great job is presenting those products right to make sure consumers can buy them easily. When I think about our lineup for this year, it really is fantastic. When you think about there hasn't been a lot of new innovation happening at retail, and there hasn't been a lot of excitement in the PC category for a while. Windows 8 is going to change all that. And it truly is a departure from products that have been out there in the past. And we will have the tablets and everything else that people want. But it's also going to be a new UI that, it's interesting the way it works. It still gives you everything that you currently have, but gives you a lot more. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I'm not going to come up here and talk about products in detail. I'm going to give you a little high-level overview. So if you're going to get disappointed, I'm not going to disclose all the features about it. That just isn't what I'm here for. But I can tell you, if you do want to learn more about it, the best way to learn more about it is go onto the Windows site and explore it there or download the beta testing. When I get down to other products we're launching, I put Windows up there, and also you can see I include hardware. At Microsoft, we put the two products together. We're going to be doing a lot of hardware. What we're not going to be doing is a lot of commodity products. We're not going to be in the low-end market. And I don't think it's healthy for any retailer or any company to keep driving down the margins and pricing of our products. And we want to stay in an innovation area. So you'll see a lot of new things coming out in that arena. I'm not going to be able to present them all because they're not all disclosed. They'll be coming out in the next couple of months. What I can talk about a little bit is about Xbox. When I said I started with Xbox, 11 years ago, I was out pitching Xbox to retailers. And I was told, I don't know why Microsoft is getting in this game. You're not going to win. It's owned by the Japanese. Microsoft doesn't know anything about gaming. And I heard from the other end, Steve Ballmer saying, we better get in the home, and we better be in the family room because that's where the future is. And we invested a few $1 billion to learn and to get the great. And this year, we became the #1 game selling platform in the world. And that was because we were tenacious and we just didn't give up on the opportunity. Now, next to the opportunity is the phone. And the phone is the same process we're in. We're coming out with a new update this year. It's a code name called Apollo. And what it is it's already a great phone. It's going to have a lot of new features that are being built into it. I can't release them all, but I can tell you we've integrated with a lot of other companies, including Skype and other companies we have purchased, that will make that phone even better than it is today. We have a very small market share. Recently, we brought on Nokia as exclusive with our line, and that makes a big difference. So that market share is going to change. It's going to grow, and we're going to be tenacious to get it there. And I also want to point out the fact that you start seeing the UI here that looks pretty similar to the Windows 8 UI. And consumers are going to rediscover the Windows Phone as Windows 8 launches on the PC. And it's the same basic UI, same basic features. It looks and feels the same way. And it's going to be one of those integrated products that I'll talk about here at the end of the seminar about how we plan to bring that to life at retail. Office is coming out this year, a huge launch for Office. So when you think about all these products coming together from Office and Windows Phone and Xbox, and by the way, Xbox, we're in a harvesting year, which means the product's been out there for about 7 years now as a current console, but we have more games than ever coming out this holiday. Where retailers make their money? Selling games, and there's going to be a lot to sell. So another point was brought up. My speech is really easy because I had it all set up for me unknowingly, but retail is changing, and it's changing very quickly in the mature markets, and then it's going to rapidly go into all the emerging markets. And what I mean by that is like physical software versus digital software. Consumers are going to be purchasing it differently, and we have to be ready for that. When you think about when a few years ago, especially even in countries like the US, we had a pretty good broadband penetration. We had great internet usage. But weren't getting the whole sell-through happening on the internet through retailers. Amazon continues to grow and thrive, but you think about, it used to be about 40% of consumers would go up and check the internet to see if they can learn something. Now it's about 80-something%. Well, that's a huge amount of people just doing learning on the internet. Now purchasing is becoming much easier on the internet. And what I mean by purchasing is just digital software downloads. So if I have my computer online, I simply say, yeah, update my computer, give me the latest update software, and it downloads right to my PC. I don't have to go to retail to buy it. Why that's important for retailers, if you don't change, if you don't make your site the best, when the big guys come in, like Amazon's, they'll make the great site. They'll have the great experiences. They'll give the user insights. They'll do things that make consumers want to come to their site and experience it. And you need to do the same. You need to be ahead of the game with the online. Even if the online isn't here yet, you still have to have some great experiences there. So it's all food for thought here, but it's about where you need to be, not where we're at. Now, I use this because who doesn't want to be loved? So it's a simple way for me to think about it. And I can tell you that we think about loved all the way up into the Steve Ballmer level at Microsoft. He's very involved with retail. He's very involved at looking even at retail assets of how we're going to train people and what our online experiences will be. Because he knows that's the moment of truth when something sells or doesn't sell. So when I think about love, and I'm not going to go in great detail here, but labor to me is all the different people we have at retail to sell our products. And I know we have some specialists that work for OEMs that work in the stores. We have the generalists that work for the stores that help support the product lines. And then sometimes we actually have tech bench people to build things. And other times, Microsoft people may be in the stores to help pitch the products. What I want to say is we have a lot of tools and programs that you can use to give great training RSPs. Now, I just painted out that we're changing the game with Windows 8. It's all new. We're changing the game with Office. It's all new. I got to train every RSP in the world of how to pitch that product. It's different. There's different products within the product line. There's a lot to go into an RSP's brain so that they can do the perfect pitch to the consumers. And so what I want you to think is, how is that going to happen? It's not because Microsoft's going to go to every store to do this training, so we got to think about what are all the levers we can do along with OEMs and along with the chip manufacturers and along with the retailers' learning systems. We better have great integrated plans to make sure the RSPs can do the art of a great pitch. Because I can tell you our competitors know how to pitch their products well. And I'm talking about competitors that are in another country right now, plotting to what they're going to do when we launch our products. So anyway, I give that the number one most important, because we're going to be spending billions of dollars to drive consumers to retail. And we call it the unbroken demand chain. It's going to come up in a minute. But what if that RSP doesn't know how to pitch it, or doesn't know what the differences are, or what that quick thing is to say to get most consumers to buy it, it's going to break. The last thing I'm going to say before I move on to the next one, the next letter, is that there's three fundamental things that we all need to do well. It's not in any of my slides, but I'll just repeat it throughout my presentation. And it's from all the research and studies we've done, and there's three things we need to do. And if you do these three things, magical stuff just happens. You have to inspire the consumer. It's got to be relevant to what they want to do. And then you've got to give them the confidence that if they buy that thing, that device, it's going to work. Or if I can't get it to work, I'm going to come back and you're going to show me how to get it to work for me. So those are the three things. Think it has to be relevant, I have to inspire you, and I have to give you confidence. And through all these levers here, I got to talk about online. Same deal. We're right back to, is it really going to inspire me? Is the online stuff really cool? Or do I just have a picture of the product up there on the website? I can't spin it. I can't look behind it. The screen just has a logo on it. Doesn't really inspire me with something cool. It's basic online versus great online. What inspires me? Show me some great videos. Get me to want to buy that product. These are ways to do it. CRM is another thing on online that I think is important for us to talk about, because some people do it well, some people don't even think about it. But customer relationship marketing, to me, is one of the biggest things we can do, especially as we get to Windows 8. Because if you bought a Windows 8 tablet, you may want a Windows 8 PC. How do I market it to you? If you bought a Windows 8 tablet, maybe you want a Windows phone. I can market that to you after you bought it. If you like this, you're going to love that. Those are simple CRM opportunities. They're far more complex. And we talked about just some early stuff about Facebook, but it's all about social. In the major markets, it's crazy social. How are we leveraging Facebook and all the other avenues versus traditional advertising and print? The visual elements, to me, we're going to show you some examples, but it's about doing less than more. It's about almost taking the PC and making a statement that the PC is sacred. Don't hang anything off of it. Don't try to oversell things. Make it, we call it romancing the PC. How do I put a PC up there and put some elements around it to make you want to buy things? Or how do I train my sales staff to make sure they do the right attach without saying a lot to me? You don't need to over-index, but once you take a beautiful PC and hang a lot of stuff off of it, it doesn't look so beautiful anymore. The other thing is about education. We have a lot of things we're going to be able to do. I touched on it a minute ago about labor, but we have online training with a thing called Expert Zone we can share worldwide, that we're partnered with hardware manufacturers as well as our own software to talk about how to do pitches. We'll come out and do face-to-face. We have all types of tools for you for training, and we have some mobile apps. Another thing, we can download training apps right to the phone. So the way to get to all the RSPs is using one of these apps, and everyone can use it, and it has the art of a great sales pitch in there. Demo. It's the last letter in loved, but it's probably the most important one for us. And when I talked about inspiring the consumers, think about Windows 8 is coming, and it's a brand new UI. Well, obviously not going to be able to even see that if it's not turned on. If it is turned on and it's not active to the internet, it's still not a very inspiring experience. So I'm going to be able to push on an app, and the app does nothing. Doesn't really show me everything. If you look at what our competitors do, they do simple demos, but very inspiring things. Hey, let me show you. You can go up on the internet. You can learn things. You can play with this. That's what we have to do with Windows 8. And you really need to think about, how am I going to get this thing connected? How am I going to make sure I can showcase it right, allow the RSPs to present it, and how do I make sure consumers have the opportunity to experience it? And that's also by these demo systems that we can give out to you, because Windows 8 on its own is not going to do a lot. But we have demo disks, and we actually have a way to download directly to the PCs to give great experiences. So something you should think about, how am I going to do that? Again, if RSPs don't have the tools and all the extra stuff we put on a demo, they can't give great experiences. Now, I kind of touched on this a minute ago. I talked about the unbroken demand chain. So corporately, this is how we think about it. This goes all the way through retail. If any of these things break, is why you lose a sale. And sometimes we sit here as CEOs or presidents or VPs. I don't know why my sales are down. But it could be we just didn't get the RSP pitch right. Could be that the products aren't displayed right. Could be that your competitors are giving better experiences. There are things that are happening, but something broke in that chain. So the way I think about this whole process is, you think about OEMs build and design. Absolutely right. And they have some incredible product coming out for Windows 8. But you know what? Retail's got to sort it. And it might be products that maybe are over the $200 item or the $300 item, maybe a $1,000 item, but the $1,000 item is the coolest, thinnest thing you've ever seen. But if you buy that PC and you put it on the floor, make sure you showcase it. But it starts there, just getting the right assortment. Then when I get into purchase trigger, that's where I come in with ads. What are we going to do to drive the product right? And it's not all about price. It's about experiences and what you can do with it and how do you inspire the consumer. As you get the next part, which says know the consumer, a lot of it we just talked about, it starts online. And it starts with their friends. Everyone has that person that helps them with their PC purchasing. But a lot of that research is done online. How do you make sure you're the place where they do that research? When you move over into romance the product, the in-store test drive we talked about, and I'm going to make sure I want to make the right choice. That's when all those key components about demo and visual merchandising and retail salespeople come in and help bring it together.
And then when I get into, okay, is this the right thing for me? Well, it's going to be that offer, whatever you say, hey, buy this, and you get $10 savings on that. It's that last trigger that may make me want to buy that PC or device from you. And then the last thing I talked about is CRM. Now, I'm not going to go through all the details here, but I'm saying what we can do and what we can support the retailers with is really detailed guides of how to get to great at retail from all the research we've done. There's nothing secret here, and it doesn't really just pertain to PCs. If you think a lot of it about eliminating clutter, make sure the PC's turned on, make sure that you're not having too many next to each other, make sure that the consumers can see when something's new in the store. There's a lot of basics of life here that you can do without really a lot of work. And there's the same basic principles for online, and they're very simple to follow, but you don't have to use every one of them. But where you can, you want to make sure you're leveraging it. What I want to let you know is we have a huge amount of tools that are free. You can take them and use them to give better experiences to the consumer. Our opportunity here is to partner, and it isn't just Microsoft. And what we're saying we need to change. We're saying we can't just continue on with this is how we've always done it, because those retailers are going to go away, and the retailers are going to go with what the future is going to be and are thinking ahead are the ones that are going to win. So the way we want to bring it together is using all the consumer insights and market intelligence that we can grab. And we do a huge amount of research on this. And then I think about it, I got retailers' objectives and strategies that we want to make sure we understand. You have the Microsoft innovations that we have coming out. And then we have OEM innovations, and I put chip manufacturers in the OEM area, but we all got to work together to give great category management for the PC aisle. If we're siloed in the approach and we're continually going against each other versus what do we want to do? I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to sell more PCs at a higher price to give you the best margins. And then all the stuff we have to do, all that dirty work of retailing, all those details we have to do, that's going to make everyone happy. The ecosystem thrives off of that versus having a commodity-based business that's driving how quickly can we get to a lower price. That's not the way to win. One way to set up a category framework, and I'm just going to quickly touch on this, and I'm not saying this is the way you have to do it. It's a way that we've tested and it works, but there's a lot of different ways to do your category. I know some people do it by price point. Some people do it by screen size. Some people do it by OEM. Some people do it by types of PC. We were testing it out and say, what if we threw away all the OEM, labeling, threw away the Windows labeling, and just did it the way people may shop? They come in and they may want a companion entertainment. I'm just looking for a reader maybe, or I'm looking for a tablet. I want an entertainment PC. I'm really heavy into movies and things that take a lot of big hard drives and stuff. Same thing with gaming. There's certain types of PCs that can fall in there, especially when you have people that are looking for professional PCs, which are usually the higher ends. Could you direct them to a certain area? Here's where they are, and give them great experiences. So that's one way to set the category up. An example is a account that in Australia. And a couple of things I want to point out here. When you look at the screens on the online site, one, it's showing me something. It's showing me what the PC can do. It's not a logo. It's not a logo of the retailer. It's not a logo of the chip manufacturer. It's not a logo of Microsoft. It's really what you can do. That's what's going to sell more PCs. You're already on the site. I already know it's a Windows PC. I don't need a logo there for Windows. I'd rather have you show what it does. But it also states out this is a companion PC. It's something that can do more than just, it's more what you can take with you and be more portable. Now, I showed this real-life example, not because, oh my goodness, they really solved it. That's a fantastic display. What I wanted to show you is that we have a generic problems, that we have 60 or 70 choices in some retailers to choose from. It's a lot to showcase, but I'm going to have to be able to figure that out and do that. So that's what we did here. But we cleaned the aisle up. Before this, there used to be hanging stuff all over the PCs next to it. It was crazy. And you can just see how we organized it there. Simple things, clean and cluttered, non-cluttered. I'm going to click through a circular ad. Again, how we showed up, you look on the right side of the left side here, how we organized the category. We start doing the education for everything we did, online, in-store. We started educating the consumers. Here's how you want to think about it. When they got to the stores, they knew what they were looking for. Well, we found out that ASPs went up and PC sales went up in the stores. Took things out, cleaned it up, and sales went up. Launch in a box, just tell you there's a bunch of stuff coming for this holiday, and you're going to get a lot of kits that can go to the stores to give them everything they can do, from the POP to the educational material will be available for you. What I wanted to spend the last few minutes, and I'm running over, so I'm going to just finish up after this, is that we talked earlier about Microsoft is changing, the UI is changing, and it's a connected story. Doesn't mean everywhere at retail that we want to put up connected stories everywhere, but the consumers alone, when they see that Xbox and the phone and the tablet and the PC all kind of look the same, that's a huge thing for Microsoft. That's not something you get on any of our competitive products. If you use any type of Apple products, you know every type of device you have has a different experience. This will be the consistent experience. So these are all just examples. We haven't landed on how we're going to bring it to life at retail, but you can see that we'll be telling little stories, not huge connected stories, but they'll be growing as the devices launch over the year. And you'll see a lot in mobile operators that they're the ones that are telling a big connected story because they want to sell more minutes. And they can do that on a tablet, they can do that on an Xbox, they can also do it on a phone. So those will be coming to life there too a little bit. So the point is, I'm just teasing you, we're going to have a connected story. I'm teasing out, we're going to be showing that more. But our true goal is to sell PCs, sell phones, sell Xbox, sell Office. Last thing is digital distribution. I talked about it earlier. It's not really here yet in the meaningful way it needs to be. Like if you want to use POSA, which is point of sale activation, or if you want to do ESD, which is electronic software downloads direct to the consumer, it's not here yet, but it's coming. And the quadrants up there kind of show you what it's going to take for it to come. When I'm telling you, you need to be ready for it and start building your infrastructure so you can partake in that when it comes. But we think within the next 12 months, we'll be expanding our capabilities to do that for you in this region. And I am done. Thank you very much for your time and enjoy your event. Thank you.
Emax, Korsik Days.
Yay! Do we have it up here? Do we have the Xbox up here? Is it?
Stefan, if you could bring the Xbox forward, please.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
I think one's coming.
Yeah. Congratulations once again.